Coming up on Hoge and Jahns, Nate Tice, our buddy, our quarterback expert. He is here to talk Caleb and more. And because it's Wednesday in the middle of the week, got some numbers to think about as well. Hoge and Jahns starts right now. What's up? Welcome in. Hoge and Jahns with you. Middle of the week, fast week with the Monday nighter. Seems like we were just talking to you yesterday. It's because we were.
We did. That is correct. Confirmed.
That's right. Yeah. And
but I was in a different state. District
or state. We couldn't figure out. You didn't even know where you were.
I believe I was in Virginia.
Okay. Yeah. At some point, it just doesn't matter over there.
It does not.
You get in trouble with the law, you have no idea what state or jurisdiction you're dealing with. All right. We have a fun show for you planned today. Nate Tice is here to talk Caleb, to talk quarterbacks. Always fun. Offensive line, too. Ben Johnson. It'll be a fun conversation with him. Got some numbers that we're going to look at later on in the show as well. Please follow our various social media channels at Hoge Jahns on Twitter, on Instagram, and our personal handles at Adam Hoge, at Adam Jahns. Got Katie Langen producing as always. And because we do like to interact with you. I saw this come across our feed this morning when I woke up from one of our diehard listeners in New Jersey, who's a huge Bears fan, and Jahns, the Ben Johnson speeches are catching on here. It appears because so he's in New Jersey and his son is a big Bears fan too, but plays soccer. And so he broke down the huddle with his soccer team. He shared this video with us. We're going to share it with you right now.
Repeat after me. Good, better, bet. Good, better, bet. Never let it bet. Never let it bet. Until good gets better. Until good gets better. And the better gets bet. And the better gets bet. 3, no 3. 1, 2, 3, raise. That's what I like.
Yeah, they do like it. So that's from our guy. I'm just going to give you his Twitter handle. At the Fro 1058, and his son firing up the soccer team.
Good for him. It's tough.
He had it nailed.
9-10 years old in the huddle. Maybe he practiced at home, but I love it. The kids liked it too. They actually said that literally after they did it.
Oh, Carm can't even get close to getting it right. I mean, he's tried a few times.
Well,
butchers it every time.
Come on.
Yeah. No, that's impressive. That's impressive stuff right there. So appreciate you sharing that, and let's keep those good vibes going here.
Yeah, we talked about this in our insider analysis column that you could check out on allchgo.com. The idea of culture building wins, culture changing wins, and I think the more that you see these locker room interactions, literally this spreading across the country to New Jersey, you could get a good sense of how real this is, that the vibes are beyond encouraging at this moment for Ben Johnson and this team.
Yeah, and we discussed it in there. If you make sure, if for all our diehards, you can get the insider analysis column. We broke down some of the run game in there as well. John's talked about the play that went terribly wrong and then terribly right, the 55-yard touchdown to DeAndre Swift. So if you're not already a diehard, scan that QR code. You can get all of our coverage all week long, but we do that insider analysis column for you each week on Wednesday mornings is when that dropped. All right, let's get to Nate. Always like talking quarterback play. Last time we talked to him was during training camp in August. We figured we'd catch up with him after now a decent sample size of the actual Ben Johnson offense, 5 games, and Caleb Williams, and see how he's feeling about things, especially because his guy, Drake May, looks pretty damn good too. So let's go ahead and bring in Nate Tice. All right, as we bring in Nate Tice, we were just joking. I need to like keep lowering my camera so we keep covering that Wisconsin helmet I have above my head. So I don't know if you want to lean a certain way to block yours
up the whole time. Yeah, something like that.
You're gonna hurt your shoulder doing that.
I know, but it's worth the blur.
It's rough out here right now, Johnsy. When you're losing 37-0 to Iowa, there's blown out 2 years in a row. I don't. That's not why we're here. All right, let's talk about the team that won a game this weekend. That was the Chicago Bears, and I do want to get into some of the more big picture. I pulled some numbers on this quarterback class. It's kind of interesting how it's working out. But let's talk Caleb to start and that Monday nighter. What are you seeing right now with the Bears quarterback, Nate?
I'm seeing a lot more comfort with what Ben Johnson's trying to ask him to do. The last time I was on here, I can just say Adam asked me to what would be one thing I'm looking at in a few weeks or midway through the season. It's sack rate. And I really do think you feel that when you watch him, is that the ball is getting out pretty promptly, understanding of what's going on. And I think what really seeing with Ben Johnson, there's a lot of traditional offense going on right now. A lot of under center. A lot of play action where he's turning his back to the defense. He even did a Dan Fouts, Mike Martz drop back on Sunday or on Monday night that it kind of what was that? I actually was shocked to see it, but I think that's just a nice little way to encapsulate what's going on right now. He's asking him to do real traditional things as on top of all the stuff that what he can do with spreading it out, throwing it quick. That was what he was in college and more of an air raid type offense. And it's been cool to see. It's not all perfect, but it's been really cool to see the comfort level. There's the one throw that he had to Zacchaeus early. We're kind of like Zacchaeus. He kind of led Zacchaeus up the field, like he was underneath, and there's an over route behind it. They've run that concept a few times, and with Caleb, because he's sub 6'2", it's always like, all right, how do you work over the middle? Because I do think he has the arm and the talent to do that. It's just more comfort level of seeing what's unfolding and anticipating. The Lions game, that exact same concept. He hit DJ Moore on an over route, I think on the first or second drive. And then they run it again against Washington. Now he takes the underneath route. And it was really cool to me to see them repeating that concept, him getting to different spots. And again, there's comfort with the timing, some of the footwork stuff, they're actually to do real traditional dropbacks from under center, no play action. So it's kind of cool that they're asking him to do I keep saying traditional, but now it's the harder stuff for young quarterbacks because they're not used to doing that. It's the inverse of how it used to be, the reverse, I should say. And so now it's really nice to see, though, that even, again, I keep saying it's not all perfect, but there is a lot of cool stuff happening with Caleb, this offense, comfort level with everybody, understanding what their kind of strengths and weaknesses are, DeAndre Swift especially. But with Caleb, too, I really do think that comfort is the word I keep coming back to, and I kind of keep seeing that week in, week out.
I feel like there's been a lot of questions about his footwork and his comfort level with that. So he has this completion against the Commanders where Drew Dahlman kind of peels back, I think it's the defensive end. I could be wrong, but it's the long completion to Luther Burden.
Okay.
And his footwork doesn't look perfect, but the completion is made and Luther Burden dances around and he kind of impresses everybody. I don't know if you saw that play or if you remember that play, but okay, so you do remember it?
Oh yeah.
What do you make of that? I mean, his footwork didn't look perfect, but here he is completing the pass.
It was back-to-back plays, actually, I highlighted. That's funny because I have two notes on it. So right before that, before I even get to that one, he hit another under center play action play to Roman Dunze, who was on a crosser. And that was actually a really cool design. I was watching Bears at 9:30 p.m. last night, and I was like, I can't tweet this. That's just kind of sad. So I just I saved it and put it in the brain. But it was they had Cole Kmet, I believe they had as a fullback. They had him run a sail route, they call it, which is a deep corner, and then they have Ndunze running across the field to be the crosser, which was, to me, it's a cool design because it's getting to sail, which everybody runs, but from a unique way. Fullback running the deep route, the underneath crosser routes coming from the opposite side. That was cool because I think last year, Caleb Williams, Kmet's covered. He would try and throw him to Kmet. Oh, that's the one. This is designed to go to the fullback. He takes his time, under center play action, hits the underneath route. Then that next play to Luther Burden, another under center play action. And that one to me was, I think he could have gotten there maybe a split second quicker. He takes maybe an extra half hitch. It should be it's technically a 7-step drop on these under center play actions. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hitch, throw, and that's if you're in rhythm. And some quarterbacks, until they get to that real comfort level, they usually take an extra hitch. Drake May is doing it right now. It's very common. But this is where Caleb Williams is, I would say, excellent arm strength comes in. Like he can get away with that right now. Is it perfect? Would I give it an A+? No, but I would give it a B+ because maybe you get there a half step quicker. Ball placement was good. But I do think that Williams also moved his eyes. Caleb used his eyes to help Burton pop open because he looks backside. It's like an over route, and I think it was a dig behind it. It was like 2 in-breaking routes. A lot of teams run this. You have to read the safety. And if the safety crashes on the over, then you hit the dig. If the safety takes the dig, you take the over. And he kind of hangs on the safety, and the safety kind of gets caught in no man land, and he slips and hits him. So it's like, all right, that's why I'm willing to wave away that extra half hitch because his eyes were good on that because he was trying to get to that throw. So those back-to-back plays, that I'm glad you brought that one up because those are the two I highlighted as well. On top of there's other stuff that happened on the game-winning drive, especially with the run game and everything too. And I mentioned that arm strength too, that he had a deep ball to Ndunze where he just launched it. It was like double coverage way down the field. That throw, because I looked it up, went 66.1 yards in the air. It's the second longest throw by a quarterback this season. The longest is the Mahomes Hail Mary against the Jags, 66.3 yards. It's like one of the 10, 12 furthest throws Next Gen Stats has in their whole database. I know it's incomplete and everything, but just speaking to Caleb's arm strength, he truly has elite, top of the mark, like strongest arms in the NFL. So, but yeah, those 2 plays were kind of like what I'm getting at too, is that under center stuff, because then you see the run game building off of that too. You see it all kind of coming together, and it's all about comfort with him. And I see that comfort level rising.
So how about the Ben Johnson side of this? We're in unfamiliar territory right now, covering this team, following this team, because sure, it's probably still a little bit of a small sample size, but it sure seems like they are a well-coached football team, really on both sides of the ball, because I think Dennis Allen, despite some of the defensive numbers, is like nobody's kind of quibbling with what he's trying to do with what he has. No. But let's stick with the offense. Like, what if you were to? I mean, are you already putting Ben Johnson sort of in the upper echelon of offensive coaches? Even, I mean, he already was there. I get that. That's not what I'm trying to say. But like, just with this Bears team and what he's already doing with Caleb Williams with this offense, your confidence level pretty high that this is all going to work, even if it's not quite where everybody wants it yet.
Yeah, I'm not wavering. I gotta find a better term, but I keep using this kind of term when I'm describing teams. Is the bones are good, like the stuff is good what they're trying to get to, and I'm usually going to give those types of teams some leeway. Like you get those illegal procedures, you get illegal shift, those kind of annoying penalties, delay of games, where you see kind of Caleb scrambling or something like that. But they're trying to get to the right thing. It's not like they're just doing that and like no one knows what they're doing. It's more like, hey, this was a wordy play call because we're getting this shift, this motion. We're getting these 2 plays packaged together, canning, killing, alerting, whatever you want to call it. The Jaguars are kind of going through the same thing with Liam Cohen. I would say their offense is a little more explosive right now. They got some kind of cool players and everything. And I actually think Trevor's playing better than people give him credit for. But that offense is like set the record already in illegal shifts because they're trying to do the exact same thing. Shifting, motioning, doing all these formations is really hard to get the timing in, especially if the play call comes in late. And again, it's comfort level because then the guys go, all right, I messed up that one time in week 2. All right, now I learned my lesson. Okay, now I know that we have to do this on that formation and that motion and everything. The run game has been more than the passing game has been like my big concern. And I actually attribute that more to Swift and just like, one guy maybe losing, one guy kind of making a mistake. But I mean, they just had the highest rushing success rate in Bears history on Monday night. On True Media, I can look back to 2013. It was tied for the single highest mark a Bears offense has ever had in a single game. 56% on True Media's metric. It's tied with Week 16 in 2016, also against Washington, which I thought was funny. But no, that was what I was encouraging to see more than anything, because I see what they're trying to do with the passing game. They're trying to figure out the tight ends as well. They're trying to get the receivers all fed. Hey, Luther Burden, you can run a bunch of screens. Okay, we're comfortable with you with that. DJ Moore, we can get you going on this. Hopefully he's healthy too. I know he has the head. But Ndunze, they're moving Ndunze now as like a power slot, which is something is really exciting for me. He had a key block on one run. And so like he's figuring out the personnel. So yeah, like long story short, too long didn't read is like, no, I'm still trusting what I'm seeing because I think the structure is really good and what they're trying to get to is really good. Good process, up and down results so far, which is to be expected, I think.
I think what has to be exciting for the Bears, even and different for us covering it, is the Bears got this rushing performance, this outstanding rushing performance coming out of the bye, and we're so used to not good football after bye weeks from the Bears.
Well, last year's Washington game was after the bye too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yes. So,
oh God.
Yeah, and a big difference between that game and this one was, I mean, yes, it came down to Hail Mary. The Bears should have won, but offensively, it was not pretty at all.
All over the place until that last drive. Like Caleb had one good drive at the end, if I remember correctly. That was it though. It was so sloppy the rest of the game. I remember that. Sorry to cut you off.
So for you, like, what do you see adjustment wise? Like, what did you pick up on? We talked to Adam and I talked about this a little bit earlier in the week, but like, what did your highly trained eye notice just in terms of the first 4 games, and then you have this game in Washington?
I think run game wise is that they know, okay, Swift, you're not the best runner between the tackles. Let's get you outside. Let's get you out in space. And so you see all those pitch plays. You see all those pitches. And that's to me, I'm not shocked because they signed Drew Dahlman and everything. I thought they would go more zone, but it was really encouraging, I thought, in this last game. Honestly, you could just see it all happen on the last drive. The game-winning drive was, all right, it's like a pitcher. Maybe I'm just Mariners are in the playoffs, so I'm watching more playoff baseball right now. But it's really like you're casting the bait and you're like setting the trap, and then you try to get them later. And that's kind of like the run game sometimes. I always use fastball and changeup. So I was like, all right, we're doing all this zone stuff. And then they went, now we're doing a pin pull, which is a guy, zone is zone. Everybody's horizontal. Pin pull is a guy pins down on the outside and you have a puller around. What was cool is like, we're running at the tight end. Psych, we're running away from the tight end now. And then on the last drive, this was really encouraging to me. This is game flow. This is adjusting. This is just knowing how you set up a defense. We did all these zones, and on the last drive, they did a wind back play, which is, so they tossed it to the back. I think it was Swift, and then he winds back behind a blocker. And it's just to take advantage of a linebacker overstepping. The Rams love to do it. They're big fans of the wind back play. That to me was really cool because it wasn't like them panicking, going like, we got to run zone again. We can't make a mistake. It's like, no, here, hey, 2 strikes. Here we go. Let's throw the junk right here. And it worked. And that's, again, it's good process. Sometimes, Swift is going to miss a hole. Sometimes the blocks aren't going to be great. But I thought it was encouraging how he played. And also, I think that was them going like, well, let's just get you out to the outside and let you just plant and get north. So on run game wise, that's what I think was so encouraging, rather than just going like, why isn't this working? Why can't we run duo 100 times like we did in Detroit? Like, what? It's like, no, okay, we got to be a zone team and we have to have the counters off of that. So that kind of stuff. Even I know Caleb gets all the stuff, but the run game to me is like more indicative of what's going on. And so the fact that they had literally the best single game rushing performance in terms of success rate, they're not going to have that every week, but that's really cool to see that this offense that had a poor run game before the bye now actually had like a very good one, explosive one. The screens looked really good as well. That's another thing, kind of a canary in the coal mine of how your offense is working. How is your screen game? And I can name 3 that they had great plays on. So those little things are really starting to add up. And then on top of again, I'll say the term, the Caleb comfort level that he's kind of having in this offense too.
Got to ask you about the offensive line. Obviously, you know the old line play really, really well. Your dad being legendary offensive line coach in the NFL. I mean, obviously this line's better. It's refreshing. They made the additions. It's the tackles that have still been sort of the question marks, and obviously Theo Benedict sort of comes out of nowhere.
What the heck?
Not that Canada is nowhere. I mean, we do have respect for our neighbors up north, but I mean, it's a hell of a story, and I don't know. I thought he looked pretty good on Monday night.
Yeah, I thought he looked good. Sorry, my son's giving me 2 colds back to back.
Nice.
Yeah, 3-year-olds. It's great. How about the NFC North has 2 Canadian left tackles now? The Lions are starting a Canadian left tackle as well, which I just think is just funny. I thought Theo looked solid. I like, there's a couple times where like one time in the run game he got caught up when he was supposed to pull. He got the illegal formation, which was so garbage. There's some weird ref calls in that game. The OPI on Colson Loveland was horrid. Absolutely horrid call. But I actually thought he looked okay. I thought Darnell Wright looked good. Very good. I've always been high on Wright. Like he has Pro Bowl potential. It's just that it's like every time he starts to get high, he gets an injury or he has a bad game. It's kind of like I can't. Every time I'm like, yeah, I'm about to anoint him as like this guy. I'm like, oh God. But I actually thought he had a promising performance. He had some great plays in the run game as well. The interior, Dahlman's not perfect, but now again, they had some really cool blocks on those zone runs, and that's how you want to use Dahlman. The Raiders game was ugly, I thought, from the O-line. I thought that game was pretty, at least in the first half. But I did think this was a lot more cohesive. Like I actually thought Joan Jackson was our right guard. Yeah. I thought Jonah looked solid. Like no one stood out in a bad way when I watched it, where a guy was losing over and over and over, where I thought the first few weeks, man, Caleb was making a lot of guys miss back there because somebody was losing right away. So I did think that was an encouraging thing. Obviously the run game stuff, I thought maybe they just had a couple losses last night. There's one where Caleb had to, make a play, make a guy miss and he had to get rid of the ball, I think. So that the fact that Caleb doesn't have to get into chaos mode, it's kind of, again, is kind of the harbinger of, I'm trying not to use canary in the coal mine all the time. It's the harbinger of what's going on with this offense, because that means, again, that the flow of the offense is working and that no one's losing up front. So the fact that you can get, even if it's just average left tackle play, it's about your best 5. So if it's like, a weak link, I should say. So if everyone's just average or better, that's great. Like that's a really good, you don't need them all to be Pro Bowlers, but then now defenses don't have to they can't just pick at one guy over and over. So I thought that was, if he can stick, that's unbelievable. That's such found gold for this team, even if he's just average. Like that's all he has to be. The Falcons, when my dad was there, had this guy, Ryan Schrader at right tackle, Valdosta State guy, and he was just average. And that's, again, undrafted free agent, starting tackle. Great. Okay, cool. So I did think that was encouraging that he wasn't a huge glaring weakness throughout that game.
When we check back in with you in 5-6 weeks, what do you want to be talking about when it comes to the Bears? So you got the Saints, you got the Ravens, who are having a disappointing year. You got their
defense stinks.
You got the Bengals.
Defense stinks.
What do you?
Good ones here.
Yeah. What do you think?
Saints are tricky. Saints are going to be fun. Yeah. That's going to be a fun game, actually. Yeah.
So, what do you think we're talking about? What do you hope we're talking about in terms of the Bears, Caleb, this offense, Colston Loveland, Luther Burden?
Yeah.
What do you think we're talking about?
Well, hopefully the defense has kind of found their way. I think more getting those guys back, TJ Edwards back, Howard Gordon back. I didn't really notice Austin Booker much on Monday night. I wasn't even sure if he was active because I didn't notice.
No, he didn't come back. They ended up not even taking him off IR.
Okay, good, because I was watching and I was waiting for him to flash, and I was like, was he even active on this game? Yeah, so I didn't pay attention to the inactives. But I think the defense more than anything, because I'm actually trusting what I'm seeing with the offense. Getting Loveland going is huge because they want to be a 2 tight end team. And I actually think Komet's playing really well right now as far as blocking and doing some dirty work stuff, which credit to him. But I think Loveland getting going is huge. I think they have figured out how they like Ndunze, which is you're the number one on everything, which is, you're the deep guy, you're the intermediate guy, whatever play we have, we want to get you targets. So I actually think they have figured out how they want to use Ndunze. So I think defense is more grabbing my attention more than anything with the offense. But if you want an offensive answer, it's Caleb puts together it makes it look like the Cowboys game, which was but it's just clean. And he has a couple of those stacked up, a consistent 4-quarter game. There's no drops, there's no miscommunications, there's nothing like that, where it's just a clean 4-quarter game, that because they have a chance going against some of these defenses to have one of those. And I think, it might not be 50 points, but it's one of those on review that I'm okay, there's no sacks. Wow. There's only 1 TFL from Swift. Okay. Wow. There's they had 8 explosive plays. I think that's really what I'm looking for. So maybe if I want to give one line answer, it's explosives through the air throughout 4 quarters, just actually consistently getting those and churning those over. So that Cowboys game was, which was one of my closest predictions of this entire year. We do some on my show called Hail Marys, and it's you have to give a bold prediction. And I said Caleb would throw for 300 yards that game. His over under was 214, and I was he's going to throw for 300. He threw for 298. And I was I came so close.
And I think was that no, or maybe that was the Raiders game. I was thinking, yeah, I think it was for Raiders. I was going to say Cole had a drop in Vegas that cost.
Oh, on the sideline,
Caleb the over under on that one. Yeah, there was kind of
in the middle. In the middle.
Yeah,
in the middle.
I think there was one in the Cowboys game too that I remember being like, oh, and he would have been over 300 on Monday night had Olamide Zaccheaus had not had that drop because he might still be running.
Yeah. Well, and also the touchdown that he had to Ndunze was, I mean, the one I just mentioned with the offside or the legal formation, like that's trust right there. But that's like, those are hard plays that you want your guys to make. And the fact they did it, like against the blitz, hey, it's not perfect. He's pretty closely guarded and they made a play. And those are going to, I mean, if you look at this offense, those are supposed to be your two best players. The fact that they did it, like that's encouraging. There wasn't a botch. There wasn't a guy tripping. Caleb didn't throw 10 yards over his head. They executed in a stressful moment. Like it was a big moment, even though it got called back. So like that, those things are huge because those are the guys you're building on. So you want them to be making the big play. So it's, I like Zaccheaus as a fun little role player, but it's like, no, I want Ndunze making big plays. I want Caleb making big plays. And we're starting to see more and more of that. The Raiders touchdown to Ndunze on third down was brilliant. Like against the blitz, he throws that glance route, throws it early. And it was, if you compare that to week 1 against the Vikings, when he led DJ Moore too much on a similar route. And then now you're seeing him throw it early and then put it right in stride, like really right on the chest of Ndunze against the blitz, against a look that's supposed to kind of catch you because they had two guys floating in the middle. That's really good. That's the blitz. Again, he's thinking quick and executing quick right now.
So I want to go back to the 2024 quarterback class. Most people know this, but just to reset, you had 6 quarterbacks go in the first 12 picks, which is insane. I mean, it's an insane quarterback class. It's one that I think we're going to be looking back for a long time, whether good, bad, indifferent, whatever. We're going to be looking at this thing. So half of the first 12 picks are quarterbacks. Usually when you're drafting that high, you're not a very good football team. Now, there's always the exceptions that, the Vikings kind of had a little bit of a down year. They traded up, like whatever. But I find it interesting. I looked this up this morning. Not that it was hard, but here are the records of those 6 teams that drafted quarterbacks, just basically like a year and a half ago. The Patriots are 4-2. The Bears are 3-2. The Commanders are 3-3. The Falcons are 3-2. Vikings are 3-2, and the Broncos are 4-2. So the worst of all those records are the Commanders at 3-3. Everyone's 500 or above with a combined record of 20-13. I mean, how many? It's just interesting to me because a lot of times you see these situations, and of course the Bears were there last year. Cam Ward's dealing with it now, where you're drafting in horrible situations, and the team just never turns around. It's not. But right now with these quarterbacks, it seems like it's working. Yeah,
there's a couple guys, one guy in particular that I'm a little lower on than most. That's Bo Nix. But I do think. Yeah, and then McCarthy did not show well early on. I could see why the Vikings were really, really putting it out there that they wanted to sign another quarterback for 9 months, and Vikings fans kept yelling at me for bringing it up. And I'm like, well, I'm just reporting what's getting reported because there's something here where they just keep talking about it. But the other guys, there's a lot to like. It's kind of cool because they all get there in the different ways. Like I think May, Caleb, and Jaden Daniels, I feel really good about in different ways. Daniels' game, like he's still like the injury stuff is always going to be something I'm going to look at with him because of the hits he takes and his body type and all that. And also just I want to see the next step of that offense. But Terry McLaurin's out, so I'll give him some excuses. But I'm still still really high on Caleb and May for good reasons, I think. But also Spencer Rattler, who you're going to see this weekend. Yeah. Like he's top half of the league in success rate. He doesn't push the ball a lot, which is kind of funny because he's got a rocket. But he's just like playing really good ball right now. So like even he's like a surprise candidate. Penix is actually my comparison for Penix is Cutler, where there's some bad sprays, but then there's some unbelievable throws. Like he's willing to push it and willing to try. So I think at the very least, I mean, you got 5 starters there, 4 if you're including Rattler. like I 4 or 5 that I feel good about, right? Like where we're sitting right now, October of year 2. It's rare. I mean, this year's class, like I'm still like up in the air on Dart. I know the New York media is making it sound like he's like going to win MVP this year. But you know, Cam Ward's going through hell right now. So like the fact that we might get 4 or 5, a half dozen potential starters, real starters out of that class is like, that's why I'm not as concerned as other people when everyone's like, oh, quarterback plays dropped off. It's like, no. The bar is really high right now. The quarterback plays pretty damn good right now. And some of these young guys are really exciting. So it's rare. And if I even look at like next year's class, like there's some interesting guys. And I think people misconstrued that it's like, oh, it's an elite class. It's like, no, there's a lot of interesting names. You know, some have risen, Fernando Mendoza, who I've been high on, Dante Moore. But it's like getting a class like we had last year. I mean, you're going to see that maybe what you can compare it to, 83. And I'm not saying all these guys are going to be Hall of Famers, but I think at the very least there's 3 good starters and maybe 2 to 3 other guys that are starters. That's pretty ridiculous. I mean, most classes have 1, if that, that come out of it.
On a scale of 1 to 10, though, how excited are you to turn on the Drake May tape every single
14.
week? Yes, he was your top quarterback.
Yes. And not even just top quarterback, one of the best prospects I've ever watched. And I felt like I was going crazy for 6 months. I felt like I was John Travolta in Pulp Fiction in the living room going like, I'm all alone here. Like I felt insane for 6 months. And everyone
part of that was just the class around him too, right? Like it was a little
Daniels was rising.
Caleb's in there, but
yeah, I mean, but people were saying McCarthy over him, and I was like, "What? What are we doing here?" No, May. I think what's really cool is May is like I figured he would have a nice year this year. I mean, he had a really good year last year. Underlying stats like success rate and everything. I thought it would take some time. Maybe they have a really easy schedule too, but it's like he's playing like old school Drew Brees, like, you know, a lot of underneath stuff, nickel diming, which I was like, oh, it's kind of cool. I actually thought that would take some time for you to get to. And then last week against the Saints, also you see the haymakers, him throwing all the stuff and then running 20 miles an hour. So yeah, 14 out of 10, 15 out of 10. It's pretty fun to watch him right now. I like watching a lot of these guys actually too. So, but yeah, May especially.
Oh yeah, I mean, even a few weeks ago, I was like, all right, let's slow down a little bit here, because to your point, you just brought it up. Like, a lot of this stuff was like the average depth of target was not very high. Like, when he's completing 73% of passes, pretty much 74, and I was like, all right, but these aren't the most difficult passes in the world. And then all of a sudden, the last 2 weeks, it's like, oh no, now it's all over the field, and this is actually totally legitimate, and he looks awesome.
Yeah, it's his. I don't know how to describe it. I've been using the word like pacing. Like he knows how to pace his throws. Like it's like he has a good arm. Like Caleb has a notch higher, but he's got a great arm. But he knows how to like kind of like get it to die on him. I don't know how to describe it. Like he'll throw it and he'll kind of pace to like where he gets it. And that's like why I really like him.
Almost like pull it back at the last second.
Yeah. It's like I don't know how to describe it. It's not a change up, but it's like it's a fastball that just kind of like he knows how to move it. And I don't know. That's why I liked him in North Carolina, was because I think the NFL, you have to hunt for explosive plays. Your quarterback has to get there with his legs and his arm. That's why I like Caleb. That's why I love Drake May, is because he hunts for those and he can execute them. And you have to live and die by that. Like, that's why I'm low on Bo Nix. He doesn't take sacks, which is a huge thing for him, but also he passes up explosives left and right, and he misses those throws. And that's why it's just hard for me to do the math of how that could succeed long term. And he's older, so it's like, all right, what else am I tapping into here? While these other guys, Jane Daniels can get explosive with his legs, throws a beautiful go ball, saw the touchdown, the slot fade. He attacks underneath a lot though. Like that, I compared him to like a fast Teddy Bridgewater coming out. But then like you get these other guys, Caleb and Drake, they're willing to chuck it and they're willing to hunt for 20-yard gains and 25-yard gains, because that's good offense. And that's contending offense, is you have to get to that. So that's why I maintain. Everyone keeps asking me, how would you re-rank him? I go, basically how I had it going into the draft. Drake May 1, Caleb 2, Jane Daniels 3, like, you know, and then I would kind of start talking a little bit. Is it Penix? Is it Rattler? You know, after that, because I do think those are the guys that are hunting for big plays. That's why I like them.
Nate, I know you got to run, so real quickly, my last question for you is: you watched Drake May versus the Saints. Saints are coming up here in Chicago this week. What did you see from May, and what do you want to see from Caleb against the Saints?
Well, Bears offense wants to see the run game keep going. I do think you can get them a little bit. That Saints run game, it's not perfect. Saints are funky on passing downs. They can do some stuff. Brandon Staley still has some decent blitz stuff, and they actually have some good players. They're playing hard. Like the Saints aren't good, but they're like playing. Like Kellen Moore's doing a good job. Like those guys are like. Just watch Alontae Taylor, who was allergic to tackling last year. He's like fitting up his head in there. He wears number 1 for them. But from the Bears, it's just another consistent 4 quarters. It's coming out with a win too, but just not a game where it's sloppy. Not a game where you're having a letdown after a night game. It's not any of that. It's less pre-snap penalties, less plays taken away. And I think that's the Bears as a whole, because I think they controlled a lot outside of the turnovers too. They controlled good parts of that game. It's just they couldn't get off the field because they got these stupid penalties. Some of them which were BS. Like, I'm not just saying that because I'm on the Bears show. I just think refs had a terrible weekend overall, including in New Orleans, actually, in that Saints-Patriots game. So really just from the Bears offense, it's just consistency, because I know what the highs of this offense could be. Like when Dunze's a number 1, Loveland and Kmet are a great tight end pairing. Like Loveland's going to be real good. I'm really excited to see him healthy. DJ Moore, when he's healthy, is a good player. Like, and now they figured out Swift, and they have enough O-line to like be at least average. So for me, it's just more like I want to see them get to that ceiling, but man, just lift the floor up. And against a team like the Saints, the Ravens that they're playing, okay, let's see these consistent, like steady games, not the highs and lows, drive in, drive out. So it's really just keep cleaning the stuff up and kind of keep doing what they're doing. I wish I had something special to say, but really that's all it is. I sound like an old coach. Just keep at it. Just keep working. Bring the lunch pail kind of thing.
Well, that's what you're always doing too. Yahoo NFL Network. The podcast is Football 301. It's really, really good. Make sure you check it out. Nate, always appreciate you coming on, man. Especially this was short notice, so thank you for making time.
No, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks,
right.
Nate.
Johns, I've been calling the Saints feisty all season. I think it's a good word to use, and you heard it from Nate there a little bit. They have not been a pushover despite being 1-5, with one exception. They went to Seattle and got their doors blown off out there when they flew to the Pacific Northwest. But otherwise, 7-point loss to the Cardinals, 5-point loss to the 49ers. It was a 12-point loss at the Buffalo Bills, but they were in that game. They actually had a chance to win that before it kind of got away late in the fourth quarter. But they were in that game. Then they beat the Giants at home, and then they lost to 6 to New England Patriots. So, playing within one score in most of these games, this is not a team you can take lightly. And we know Brandon Staley. We know that defense and how exotic it could be and it cause some trouble. And honestly, I remember watching that week 1 game against the Cardinals because the Bears were on Monday Night Football, and I was like, Spencer Rattler looks okay, and he's kind of continued that throughout the season. So this is not an easy game.
Adam, it's Dennis Allen Revenge Week.
Yeah. Oh, we're doing the revenge thing again.
Yeah. Well, when you're in the league long enough, there's like revenge weeks every week.
This actually is revenge, though, if we're going to go that route, because he got fired.
Correct.
I thought last week was more redemption than revenge. This could be revenge, but it's not like he's got him. Okay, Bears by 1 million.
There you go. No, it should be a good game. It should be a competitive game.
Yeah, it's just the Saints are not good, but they're not bad either. Put it that way. Just got to be careful. All right, we got some numbers coming up next, so don't go anywhere. We'll break down some key numbers of the week, and we'll have that coming up next. But first, our friends at Sunnyside Dispensary are here to elevate your football season. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free shopping. They have a crazy selection with over 100 different strains to choose from, with easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Wherever you're at in Illinois, Sunnyside has a location for you. They have spots as far south as Champaign and as far north as South Beloit in the city. River North, Wrigleyville. Stop in the store nearest you for expert guidance from their staff, or you can go online. You can visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. It's 50% off Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. And if you're a returning customer, here's your code. You can use this one, CHGO50. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders.
All right, Adam, let's be real for a second. The world's gone soft. Everyone gets a trophy just for showing up. Not for podcasts, though. Like, it's part of the job, I think.
No trophies. We should get some trophies, though.
I got a trophy right here. Little Stanley Cup.
But not from this podcast.
No, from
some
Black
point.
Hawks. Yes. Yeah. Soda used to have some kick. Now it's all about pretty colors and easy fizz. But RC Cola is not just a soft drink, just damn good cola. Let me say that again. RC Cola is not a soft drink, just damn good cola. It's the OG cola in the world of spineless soft drinks. No trends, no gimmicks, no go up. It's the same bold, crisp flavor it's always been. RC Cola tastes like a punch in the thirst. So do yourself a favor, grab yourself some RC at your local store. Stock up on all your end of summer celebrations, back to school parties, or just watching the next game. RC is the move for whatever you're doing. Get some RC.
All right, we will close out the show with some numbers. We got to get to some numbers, Johnsy, and bring in our producer, Katie Langen, to present these numbers because she's the one that found them, of course.
It's my new favorite segment.
Yeah,
it's your segment.
It's yours.
Yep. All right, I'll take it away. We got four big stats we're going to talk about. First one, and these are all courtesy of Next Gen Stats. The Bears forced 3 turnovers in their Week 6 win over the Commanders, gaining a combined 56.6% increase in win probability across those 3 plays. So Jaquan Brisker's first quarter interception generated a 16.1% swing. Montez Sweat's forced fumble in quarter 1 was worth 13.2%. And the botched handoff recovered by Nashawn Wright in the fourth quarter improved the Bears' chances by 27.4%, the defense's second most impactful play by win probability this season.
It's a big one.
EPA be damned. Lovie Smith would be so happy and so proud right now to read those stats.
Yep. That's it, To be clear, it's not like Ben Johnson said that doesn't matter.
No.
It's just turnovers obviously matter a lot. Turnover differential matters a lot. The Bears do not win the last 2 games without their +3 takeaway margin. But his point was just that EPA per drop back, EPA in the passing game has actually replaced turnover in terms of whatever the top indicator is of win probability. Obviously those 3 plays, and especially the last one, but kind of, there's a little bit of luck. I know people don't want to hear. There's a little bit of luck involved as well, because it's not like the Bears punched that ball out. Jaden Daniels just lost it. Obviously, Mother Nature is a Bears fan too. The wet football, it dropped out, but they were there to jump on it too. So huge impactful play.
You make your own luck. In the first 2, I mean, it's railing to the football. That's being there. Like how often the coaches say that, like, go to the ball. Go to the ball. Like, good things happen. That's the second turnover. And then the first one, Jaquan Brisker basically baited Jaden Daniels into throwing that football down the left seam. Yeah. Tried to fit it between him and Kevin Byard. He stepped in front of the football. Interception. First interception for Brisker this season. Outstanding play.
All right, Katie, what else we got?
All right. When rushing to the weak side of the formation, the Bears' offense has created the second most yards before contact per carry, 2.5, and have the 4th highest success rate, 51.7%. The Saints' defense has forfeited only 0.7 yards before contact per carry, 4th fewest, and allowed a success rate of 38.6%, 5th lowest against weak side rushes.
Interesting.
So this goes back to what Nate was saying when, here we go. Oh, now we're going to run opposite the tight end. And, well, I think the Bears found what ails their ground game. Obviously, you heard those efficiency numbers from Nate earlier in the show, but now we get to see if it continues. It sounds like the Saints will put up quite the challenge in terms of seeing what that efficiency number could be in this will be week 7.
Right. Well, and again, these are all courtesy of Next Gen Stats. I have one that we showed, I think it was on CHO Bears last week. So last week, if you look at the EPA per rush by gap that they're running to, they were negative across the board, with the exception of running outside the right tackle was the only spot where the Bears had a positive EPA per rush. After last week's game, numbers pretty much improved across the board, but now they're also in the green running between the right guard and right tackle. So now they got at least 2 arrows, both sides of the right tackle, positive. The rest of them still negative right now, but we'll see if that continues to increase because it was pretty bad the first 4 games.
So in terms of yards per game, the Saints rank 18th, allowing 114 yards per game on the ground. But yards per attempt, the Saints rank 6th in the NFL, according to Pro Football Reference, allowing 3.8 yards per carry.
Yeah. Well, we've always said Brandon Staley can coach, and I think he's
doing it again.
Doing a solid job there with roster that's just How many more do we got, Katie?
2 more.
2 more, okay.
Okay. After 6 weeks, Caleb Williams has the highest expected completion percentage in the NFL, 71.5. And then behind him is Kyler, 69.3, 69 Stroud, 68.3, Dart, 67.8, Tua, 67.6, Goff, and then finally Patrick Mahomes at 67.5. Love this stat.
There you go. Shout out to Joe Ostrowski too, my old buddy, for that tweet with the Next Gen Stats. Okay, it's starting to come together.
Should we just...
Yeah, keep her going.
Yeah, keep going.
All right, this is the last one. The Bears utilized 11 personnel on 53 of 59 plays, 89.8%, in their Week 6 win over the Commanders, their highest rate in a game since at least 2016 and the highest rate in any game Ben Johnson has coached or coordinated.
So that is interesting for a number of different reasons. One being that, you're getting Colson Loveland back, so you're thinking use the tight ends more. In my whiteboard segment previewing the game, Johns, because I came across this, while the Bears are, I think, I probably still have it up there over there. I can't read it. I think they were 5th coming into last week's game in terms of 12 personnel usage, but only like 15th in actual EPA in 12 personnel. They were actually more productive out of 11 personnel despite using it less. So I wonder how much that had an adjustment. Start doing some self-scouting during the bye week and go, yeah, well, we might like doing this, but we're actually better in this personnel. And maybe that's a week-to-week thing, but you come out of the bye thinking, well, how can we catch them off guard? Or maybe it's just matchups too. But based on that, we'll find out if this was a 1-week blip or a 1-week exception, or if Ben Johnson looked at everything over the bye week and is like, you know what, as much as we love using 12, this is what I got. This is what's best for this team, and we'll see if this continues. We'll continue to track those 12 personnel usage rates the rest of the season. Maybe that continues to go down.
Yeah, this is going to be something that's going to be interesting to watch going forward because we know his strong preference for using 12 personnel. It's in his history. It's literally in quotes. It's coming out of his mouth. That's what he says. He likes to use 12 personnel, but at the same time, there's probably some context needed. Maybe it is the matchup against the Commanders. Maybe it is Colson Loveland returning from injury. And maybe it's what Nate said, that they like Roma Dunze in this power slot position where he could block too. So I like to think it has to do with Colson Loveland finding his way back, being caught in this transition as a rookie tight end. But maybe the Bears do have something in just moving their personnel around a little bit with the Dunze in the slot and doing different things.
Point is, those are some numbers.
All right, thanks, Katie. Those are some numbers. I think we're done here. I think that was a good show.
Real good show.
We covered a lot of ground there with Nate, with some of those next gen stats, which are always awesome. NFL's done a good job in general, the last like 5 years, I feel like just the amount of analytical data that's now been, there's just such a time where it's like, okay, well, what is it exactly does analytics mean, right? Now it feels like it's quantified, it's understandable, it's digestible. You can see why these coaches are using it and why it matters. And it's, helping us get away from just simple things like passer rating, which still has some value, especially after the game, because that gets distributed right away. But success rate being a big thing too. So all these things, hopefully people are enjoying it, because it really does, to me at least, it tends to match more of what I'm seeing with my eyes more than some of these other numbers where you're like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't really make sense. So, all right, well, we will be back Friday with, let's just go ahead and say it, a special preview episode. Should we give it away or tease?
No, tease it.
Tease it. Well, we're going to do a little something different on Friday. But I can guarantee you guys are going to like it, because we're going to have a special guest. Instead of just previewing the Saints, we're going to have a special guest that's actually going to do our 3 big questions and our over-unders and our predictions with us. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I promise.
It's not me, unfortunately.
No, that's a good point. It's not just Katie.
It's going to be someone everybody knows, and it's going to be a fun show.
Yeah, it is. It is. So make sure you check out Friday's episode as we preview the game against the Saints. In the meantime, we'll be off to House Hall to gather as much information as we can. Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams talking, open locker room tomorrow. They are actually not practicing today because of the short week, so they'll be back out there tomorrow. We'll gather everything for you. We'll be back Friday. Full preview episode with the New Orleans Saints coming to town and the opportunity for the Bears to get to 4-2 for the second straight season, actually. But
that's not going
to we won't talk about that. It'll be a different 4-2.
Yes,
it will be. All right, hit that like button, hit subscribe. We appreciate you. Keep helping us grow the channel and rate and review the podcast. However you consume the show, we appreciate you very, very much. We will be back on Friday. Talk to you then.